What is good, folks? We are back for the first time since a season that we have quickly forgotten ended. Now vibes are good. Vibes are back. Bill Self has gotten, we're going to talk transfer portal. We're going to talk like and subscribe. Shout out Wesley first on the clock this week. Like and subscribe, please. Follow on Twitter if you're listening there. Yeah, we got to talk portal. Bill Self, his staff, they've gotten after it so far. Picked up our second commitment of the offseason with Zeke Mayo today, and I really do not feel like they are done. So, not that we didn't expect Self to go out and make moves, but it's very good that he's making the moves that we all wanted him to make. Mayo's a shooter. Kugel's athletic. I think, Kugel, we'll talk about his shooting. I can't quite figure that guy out. But both have a lot of, both are really talented, really good scorers at times. Mayo all the time. So I guess I'll start with you. B-Turn, you probably know a little more about these guys than me. How are you feeling about what Self's done so far?
Yeah, I feel great. And obviously we talked about the stuff Bill said after they lost to Gonzaga and kind of how he'd been looking forward to next season. And we really talked about needing guys that can create their own shot and go get a bucket whenever. And that's exactly what Riley Kugel and Zeke Mayo are. So I feel great. We need guys that could go get buckets. We obviously talked about how we need to surround DeJuan and Hunter with shooters, and they've done that so far. And it's two guys that grew up KU fans. Zeke wanted to go to KU out of high school. He obviously went to Lawrence High. And then Riley Kugel grew up in the area, Overland Park, and was a KU fan too. So it's two guys that are going to love playing for Kansas. DeJuan is obviously that way. KJ, who announced he's back today. Hunter obviously gets all the history at KU too. So I'm really excited about these two guys as players, but I think they're guys that will just kill to play for KU, and that's exactly who you need.
You love that. AB, I know you're probably not a guy that's like deep into the South Dakota State box scores and Riley Kugel, Florida box scores, but you do have takes. I even saw a comment that says AB looks ready to rattle off some takes. How are you feeling? A guy that's been pretty out on anything this offseason?
Yeah, pretty much.
How are you feeling?
Braden kind of said it. Like, I'm happy that they went out and got guards that can create their own shot and get their own. Like, I think that was a big issue this year, especially with Kevin out. And I didn't know where that was going to come from next year. I'm like cautiously optimistic is how it's or describe it, I guess. Like, I'm not convinced that they're both going to come in and be all conference level players, but you probably only need one of them to, assuming Furphy's back. So yeah, I'm not against the moves at all. Like, I would be disingenuous if I said that there's better guys out there. I don't know who's in the portal right now, but they make sense and they're guys that have been talked about from the beginning. So I'm all in. Now I will say, if these are the only two moves they make in the offseason, that's going to be a little bit upsetting. And maybe it's just like me being a little not salty or sour, but seeing how Timberlake was last year, like going after another low major scorer that dominated in a much, much lower league would give me a little bit of pause, but like, who knows? I mean, Dalton connected the same thing and now he's dominating the NCAA tournament. So like, you never really know. And that's kind of where I'm at, cautiously optimistic, I guess.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. Like, I think what's exciting to me is it's only April 2nd and we've gotten a guy like Riley Kugel, who I don't think the staff went out to get Riley Kugel thinking he was going to like come in and replace Kevin McCullough's production. Cause I'm with you. If that is what we are doing right now, we're not going to be much better next year. But I think this is just kind of the first couple steps. I think you're still going to see more happen. I think we're still after other guys. I think we still have a lot to learn about the guys on our roster. I saw a comment from John Doe. All 12 scholarships are full. Who is entering the portal on our roster? So we'll find out more about that. Will El Marco be back? Will Jamari enter the portal? I'm going to imagine we see some guys go this week. So I don't think this staff is anywhere near done. I don't know what that means, though. Is it another guard? Is it a big man? Because we still need depth. I don't think we want to be in a spot where we just have nothing
I
off.
want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and
The big man side, we can get to it later, but I
yeah.
don't know.
Well,
I mean, obviously, yeah, they need a backup big, and then they need a tall, athletic wing, probably like a stretch four that can shoot it. I mean, we've talked about needing shooters. They've been obviously Liam McNeely. We've talked about him. I have no clue what's going on with his recruitment. They tried to get him, went to Indiana, and then it looked like once he got out of his LOI, he was coming to KU, and then now not really sure what's going on with him. And then they've been rumored with AJ Storr at Wisconsin, who I think he was second team All Big Ten.
Yeah.
And I think KU has like a legit shot there. I think it could be Illinois or KU for him. So,
yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because, well, I think McNeely, I saw another comment there that says, which I agree with, like, it feels like McNeely is maybe waiting on Furphy news. I got to think if Furphy returns on top of us already getting Kugel and just KJ and everything, like, it's hard to believe McNeely would come play if that's what we've currently got set as a roster. Now, the issue is if Furphy goes pro or Furphy tests the waters and takes a while to make his decision, well, how long is McNeely willing to wait in limbo? I think it was mid to late May last year when we found out about McCullough returning. So I don't think McNeely is going to wait that long. So let's hope we get an answer from Furphy sooner than that. But yeah, AJ Storr is certainly an intriguing name. I don't know. I guess what I want to kind of talk about is, do you think Self right now, and I love this if he is Self going to guys like Zeke Mayo and Kugel and being like, look, I'm not promising you a starting job, but I can promise if you guys show up here and you play the way I want you to play, like, not only can you be really good, but we can also win a national title. Like, are we getting back to the days where these boys are battling in practice, where we've got 7-8 guys on the team that can start? Like, that's where I want to be. And I don't know. Or is Mayo told, hey, you're starting at the 2, and Kugel told you're starting at the 3 if Furphy doesn't return? Like, if that's what happens, to AB's point at the beginning, I'm not very excited.
No.
That's why
Can I ask more about the backup big situation? Yeah. Why is that? Like, you mentioned it earlier that we need one. I've seen it being tweeted about. It's been talked about in the group chat. Why? Like, I guess maybe I'm just missing something. But if Hunter's back and Flory's coming in, KJ, who knows with him? But he's never going to be an actual wing. Like, I don't think any of us can expect that at this point. What's the pitch to a transfer big to come in? Like, if it's anyone, I almost expect it to be like a Parker Brown type that can give us 3 or 4 minutes a game, because I guess I just don't see the hole. I don't see Bill going 2 bigs again unless KJ is going to be on the floor, so that would count. But like, if KJ is off the floor, if Hunter's off the floor, I don't see them going with 2 bigs.
Well, the one thing for now is he's likely going to be back, but I don't know if they know for sure Hunter's going to be back.
Yeah.
And then maybe just a big that isn't a senior, like maybe an underclassman, a sophomore, junior. I guess you could sell him on maybe playing in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, they need a big just to spell Hunter. That's why someone said Cliff Omarui, or however you say his name, from Rutgers. I don't see how that's possible if Hunter's back. Like, Cliff is not going to transfer to another school and come off the bench and play 10 minutes a game. So,
but like, in theory, wouldn't that be Flory, the guy to spell Hunter?
I was going to say,
I don't know if he's ready.
Yeah, I mean,
right, but we're not asking him to be ready to be an All-American. We're asking him to be ready to play 10 minutes. Like,
but I guess we've just talked about like having depth and having guys ready to go off the bench.
I get that too.
I just feel like you gotta prepare for foul trouble. You gotta prepare for injuries. Like last year, we had such small margin of error that if anyone was to get hurt, we were going to be screwed, and that kind of happened, I guess. But
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I've been thinking the same thing, AB. It's like, because in my mind, it's if Flory isn't ready, well, now you push KJ to the 5. But I know as badly as we don't want KJ playing the 4 next to Hunter, I also don't think him just playing the 5 is the best answer if you're trying to build a team that's built to win a national title with depth. So, like, and I also wonder, are they trying to maybe get to the point where Hunter doesn't have to play 35 minutes? Are they thinking, well, maybe he's better defensively if he can go out there for 28? And I don't even know what he played this year. He probably didn't play much more than 30, but actually he probably did. God, we had nobody.
Who's the last like freshman big man that came into KU ready?
That was my next. I mean, Embiid, but outside of Embiid, Morris twins played a lot, but they had to. But they definitely had times where it was like, holy smokes, these guys are not ready. Refused to dunk the ball, but they figured it out as the season went on.
Because you had Cliff, you had Sheck, you had.
But like, could Flory not do what Ernest did for us last year?
But do we need more than Ernest?
Was that good enough for what Ernest did?
I guess
I'm
overthinking like the whole. If Hunter's back, he's playing 30, and then we just need to find 10 minutes for a backup center, which may involve 4 of those going to KJ. I don't know.
I think maybe it's more so just being safe, though, like having a for sure thing. Like Flory, I have my hopes up for him, but we've seen a lot of bigs come through that aren't ready physically. So, I don't know. Maybe just a safe play where you have a proven guy at another school that's already put up numbers and you can trust to at least finish around the rim, be a rim protector. I don't know, because there could be games where Hunter's just getting abused in the pick and roll. What if you get a backup big that is really good defensively and can protect the rim? And really
here's what I want. Like, think back to 2008. You have Darnell Jackson, Darrell Arthur, Sasha Kahn's the clear first off the bench, but you also have Cole Aldridge sitting back there. I want Flory to be the Cole Aldridge, and if he's truly ready to be bigger than that, well, then he'll play. You'll find a way to get him on the floor for 10, 15 minutes if you need to. I don't know. That's the world I want to get back to. I mean, think about those teams. And I know that's hard in the portal to go tell a dude, hey, you want to be Sasha Kahn? And by the way, if Flory's really good, you're not going to play at all. But think back to some of those old lineups. Darnell Jackson, Darrell Arthur, Sasha Kahn, Cole Aldridge. 2011, Morris twins, T-Rob, Jeff Withy is sitting back there. I don't know.
Just to play devil's advocate, the game has changed a lot since those days. Like, ideally, we're not going 2 bigs 40 minutes a night like we used to. I'm not saying that we would. I'm just more like compared to 2008 when we would start Shady and Darnell or have Sasha on the floor or Shady at like times. Like, I just don't know that that's the best route in 2025.
What are we going to say? What are we going to say during the season? Like, if Flory's not ready and we don't go get a big, are we going to be like, would you be upset with Bill that he didn't go get an experienced big if Flory's not ready? And maybe Hunter upsets us defensively. And
I guess maybe the better way to put this is I would be surprised if we got anybody worth a big impact that's a backup big in the portal. And Ryan's kind of hinted to that too. Like, that's a tough sell to get someone to leave whatever program they're at to be max 12 minutes a night and the potential of playing 3 minutes a night if the 5-star top 10 recruit happens to be ready enough to give you 8 to 12 minutes. But I'm not going to be mad if they do get one. Like, I don't want it to sound like, just completely ignore the bigs. I guess I was just more wondering, like, how significant of a need is it if we're worried about 12 minutes off the bench?
I'm even thinking about like a Jalen Coleman Lands. Not that he was a big, but just think about how Self and them built that roster out during that offseason. He wasn't told you're going to come in and be a starter. He was the leading scorer at Iowa State the year before. He was told you're going to come in and you're going to compete with a bunch of really good dudes and we're going to have a chance to win a national title. And he was in like his 10th year of college and he was ready to win. I don't know if that's out there, but if you can go tell me that there's a guy, I would like a little higher level than Parker Brown, but like a slight upgraded version of Parker Brown or even like a sophomore big that you can go say, hey, we know we have Flory, but KJ and Hunter are both gone. Who knows with Flory? He could be one and done. Like, if you come play a little bit, I don't know. We're spending too much time on the backup big. Like, I want to talk about guards, but
we talked about Furphy earlier. I'm I wasn't really sure on him after like talking to a couple people today. It seems that the staff's confident that Furphy's going to be back. I know you still have to go through the process and stuff, and people could fall in love with him. Like it really just takes one workout. You see a 6'8" guy that can shoot, and he's really young, but they feel good about him coming back. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good too. Like we talked about the draft class and how it's weak, but you also can think like he could turn himself into a lottery pick, which is where he was going during the year in mocks at least. And I've heard next year's draft class isn't very strong, so he has the chance to do that. So I feel like I thought it was a foregone conclusion he was gone, but it makes sense. Like people say he's not getting NIL, he's fine. And I think he could really develop into a really good player as a sophomore. Talk about people that come back under Bill Self and how they develop, but needs to be able to create his own shot, defend a little better. And I think 1 year under Bill would be huge.
I think we're all in agreement. Like Furphy next year fits the mold of a guy that just takes the huge next step. Like you give him an off season with this staff. That's the thing. He came so late last year and still, was so good by mid-year. So yeah, I think Furphy, if this team gets Furphy back with Mayo and Hunter returning, if you can just go add maybe another wing, another scoring guard, whatever that is, and whether you want to call it a backup big, I don't know. Maybe it's another guy that can kind of do it all. Well, we need a backup point guard, unless we're just trusting LeBaron to be the backup point guard. And maybe Mayo could probably play.
Yeah.
So
no, but yeah, I think we've talked about kind of going small ball around Hunter, just having 4 shooters. I know DeJuan's not a crazy good shooter, but when he's open, he knocks him down. So yeah, I mean, Furf could play the 4, like not be a power forward, obviously, but he's a willing rebounder. And then Zeke too. Like Zeke averaged 5.7 boards this year, 6 boards the year before. So he's willing on the glass. Hunter obviously is a guy that can get you 20 boards a game. So they could go small and still be okay. I just maybe would worry about Furphy guarding bigger guys.
Yeah. So AB, you've been the most I don't know if I want to call you a Debbie Downer or what to call you, but anytime we bring up 4 guards around Hunter, and I for the most part agree with you. It's not like Self's going to bring KJ off the bench. But are you totally out on the idea that Self says, yeah, KJ's starting, but it might be at the under 16, Kugel's checking in for him, and we're going DeJuan, Mayo, Kugel, Furphy, Hunter for the next 10 minutes. And if it's going well, we're going to stick with that. And if it's not, KJ can come back. Like, I don't know. Are we sure that's not a possibility? I feel like it kind of is.
Yeah, first of all, I don't want to say that I'm a Debbie Downer about that idea because I prefer 4 out with 1 big around Hunter, preferably. My thing the whole time has been I don't know that I can picture Self just like not playing KJ a ton. And that's why I'm really confused with how the roster or the lineups are going to look next year. He loves KJ, man. And he's been starting for 2 full years. Like, it's just really hard for me to picture him taking a significant cut in minutes.
But we can see
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am.
I know.
But like we think that we see things all the time that Bill doesn't see.
I really
Especially
think
with
Bill.
KJ.
I really think Bill is going to be straight up with him or DeJuan or both. Just tell him like we're going to get some guys. Like we're going to be competitive. We're going to have guys that can score off the bench. Like you gotta earn like a certain role. I'm not saying they come off the bench or they don't have to start, but Bill, who knows how much longer he's going to coach. Like you got to put the best product on the floor out there. And I don't know, maybe Juan got too comfortable last year, but we talked about the spacing with KJ and Hunter, and I don't see how it can work again. And I feel like Bill has to see that as well. I know he falls in love with certain players, but you got to give yourself a chance to be a legit national title contender.
Yeah.
What's the level of optimism that Hunter's back?
I think it's like 99.
I think it's maybe not 99, but 90. And I think something would have to change. Whether I don't know. I really don't know what he would, unless he transfers to another school. Like, I'm not totally ruling. But isn't it more likely Hunter would go to another school than he would pro? Like, where's he going?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I hadn't thought about it because I was pretty certain he'd be back for the same reasoning. Like, where is he going to go play? Until I saw that we were in on like a high profile big in the transfer portal. And then I started wondering, but I guess we kind of already went over my thoughts on the backup big situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like announcements to come in because there's so many questions in the air that may not be questions, but like they're kind of like they have to keep in the back of our mind at least.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Like El Marco, I think we've had a roller coaster. I mean, me especially. I tweeted in the first round against Buckyball that I was falling in love with El Marco Jackson. I'm not kidding. The guy didn't do a single positive thing on the basketball floor for the rest of the season. Not one. And quite literally, everything he did was bad. I fell out of love. I fell out of love so fast
by the end of that game.
Oh yeah. So, but I still, there's those moments. You think about the Cincinnati game, the one good thing about that game is his dunk in transition. You think about, not that I love a pull-up jumper, but maybe he's got something there. So how do we feel? Do we feel El Marco's back? Do we think Self's maybe? Is he waiting to see? Are we waiting to see? Like, how are we feeling with El Marco?
I think El Marco might have had like a change of heart. I think he was leaving and now he's debating like actually staying, but just think about it. I feel like there's a lot of guys or a lot of guards on this team that are already playing over him. Like it feels like he could be on the outside looking in going into next year for even seeing legit bench minutes. Like he's definitely not starting, I wouldn't think. You have DeJuan, you just got Zeke, you're still trying to get certain guards in the portal. And then you think about like him as a junior, we're still going to be getting guys in the portal. We're still going to be recruiting freshmen. So I don't know. I feel like it could be a situation where maybe he doesn't see legit minutes until he's a junior, but I don't see him playing legit minutes as a sophomore. And he's obviously a guy that was a high profile recruit, and is looking to go play at the next level. So I don't see it happening at KU this season.
I mean, I'm getting sick of hearing myself say this, so I'm sure everyone else is getting sick of me saying this, but like, are we sure El Marco doesn't come back? And I forgot about him earlier when I was talking about backup point guard. Are we sure El Marco doesn't come back as a backup guard? DeJuan doesn't play 38 minutes. He plays 32. I don't know. DeJuan or El Marco can play a little 2, play a little 1. I agree. He's not going to get tons and tons of minutes, but if he can show some promise, I think we're all pretty dang excited heading into his junior year if you're now handing the keys over to him after he showed that he was really good or like played well off the bench as a sophomore. But it's all totally dependent on, is he here to truly like be a good player at Kansas, or is he just trying to play as many minutes as he can as fast as possible? Because if that's the case, he's going to leave. So I don't know, but I kind of like the idea. If you tell me that El Marco is our backup point guard and he knows that, and then you've got Mayo, Kugel, Furphy, Passmore, the other freshmen, like, I don't know, like you're all of a sudden you're building depth, and that's what we all want. So
yeah,
I'm very open to it.
We've talked about wanting guys to stick around too, like program guys. All Bill Self's best teams are guys that stuck around. You look at 2022, Oach, CB, J. Will, all those dudes got better in the summer. So yeah, you want guys to stick around and develop. So it feels like he's seriously debating coming back, but I don't know. It still feels like Bill might add another guard in the portal too. So that would be, you're behind DeJuan, you're behind Zeke, you're behind the other portal guard. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of scary for El Marco, I feel like, because what if he's going into his junior year and you land like a cuff or a Darren Peterson in the next class, and then El Marco's like, damn, I should have transferred after my freshman year. But if you think you're good enough and you can stick around and get minutes, feel free to stick around and compete. Like, I feel like I still saw the flashes from El Marco, the athleticism, and he definitely wasn't scared of any jumper. throughout the season.
Yeah. So I don't know. I see John Doe's in the comments saying that we're disrespecting LeBaron, but
I have no clue what to expect from the freshman anymore. I
mean, yeah, I think it's crazy for any of us right now to assume that a freshman guard, unless they're like, I mean, yeah, Grady Dick came in last year, but it's like he was a top 10 player in the class. So was Marco. It's crazy to think that these guys are just going to come in and be ready. I can't. You cannot tell me LeBaron's the backup point guard next year, and I'm going to feel good about that. I have to see it. Bill Self is not going to change. He's not going to put up with young guys not knowing what they're doing. He just doesn't. So to me, if that's Marco in that spot, I feel much better. Unless if he doesn't improve. I will say the comment back. I don't know what I need to quit reading these comments the whole time, but he said, I'd rather roll the dice with a freshman than a shitty sophomore. How many times have we seen a freshman take a big jump into his sophomore year? I think we've seen that. I mean, Devontae Graham hardly played as a freshman and he was starting as a sophomore. Like, guys play now. Graham had a really good end of the year, his freshman year, but like, I'm not totally out on Marco yet, and maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's because I was just in love with him a week and a half ago. But
It's your first love, man. You always want her back.
For 10 minutes.
Who do you think's more likely to be back, Jamari or Marco?
Marco. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
the way Bill talked about Jamari, like recruiting him as a program guy and this and that, like it almost made me think Jamari was here for the long haul. I wouldn't blame him one bit if he left. I mean, it's the same thing that you guys just said about Marco, that like he's already going to be behind 3 or 4 guys at least.
Yeah.
If you want to go somewhere else and like get consistent minutes, I would get that completely. But at some point, we're gonna have to have some guys stick around.
I'd say pretty confidently that Jamari and Zach are probably hitting the portal. I don't know much. I really don't know where I'm at with El Marco. But yeah, someone brought up Marquise Passmore. Like, that's a guy that I hear incredible things about. Like, really good shooter, athletic, but it's like I can't really just say he's going to come in and produce and put up numbers as a freshman. Like, I'm just not going to say that really about anyone anymore. Like, Flory's a 5-star big. Hopefully he can come in and be a solid backup. But yeah, those are the guys we need to stick around, play together, learn Bill's system, and develop.
Yeah. That is the tricky part, because I agree, AB, and like what you said, Bill talked about, he loved Jamari's personality and how he was a guy that was going to be loved at KU one day, when he gets the chance to be on a bigger stage and play more minutes. But it's just like, are you telling someone if AJ Storr comes calling tomorrow and says, hey, I'm coming to Kansas, like, I guess you tell Jamari, hey, if you redshirt, you can be in a great spot next year. But like, these guys just the portal has made it so like if something's not perfect, they can go find something better. Like, and so as much as Jamari, I think, loves Kansas, I think Kyle Cuff loved Kansas. And I think Bill just kind of went to him and was like, dude, we do not have minutes for you. Like, you are not going to play here. And I don't know if he was going to lose a scholarship or what, but it was like Kyle Cuff had talent. In 2006, Kyle Cuff would have been a guy that stuck around till his junior year and probably got minutes by the time he was a junior. But
can I ask something else?
Yeah.
Is there a chance that any of the incoming freshmen get out of their LOI? Specifically one of the guards. Yeah, specifically one of the guards. Like, and then if that was like, I guess maybe a better question would be, would you rather have Jamari or El Marcos? I can't say that. That's a real tongue twister. Would you rather have one of them stick around and one of the freshmen coming in go somewhere else, or trust the freshmen to come in and have them try to earn minutes? Because to me, it's almost like becoming a cycle, or we get a freshman guard to come in, he doesn't end up being what we think he is, and he's gone after 1 year.
That's why I want El Marco.
Part of me is, El Marco or Jamari, like I feel like we need some program guys, because after this year, and we have to assume after next season, Furphy's gone, KJ's gone, DeJuan's gone. Hunter's gone. And then whoever, I mean, I don't know what Mayo's eligibility is. You have 1 year left?
Zeke could be gone.
He'd be
Gone. Kugel, I don't know what his eligibility is.
Kugel's only a junior, so he'll be
okay.
back.
So he could be back. But like my point being, that's 5 of the top, what we expect 8 guys that are going to play this year just gone.
I agree. Yeah.
So like at some point you can't completely overhaul your roster. It feels like we've done that recently, but we really haven't. We added Hunter and Timberlake last year, and then we added whoever else the year before. Obviously.
And not only can you not overhaul your roster, you definitely can't do it when you're Bill Self. Bill Self has never seen success with a team full of newcomers that don't know how. I mean, I guess you.
What do you consider success?
Yeah, like we've never had a title contender, I would say, that was like 4 or 5 new starters. And
14 comes to mind.
Yeah, now if we go out and get generational talents, yeah, maybe, but
I don't know that they were a title contender. I'm like agreeing with you with that. Like,
yeah, I know. Like it's hard that team's hard to judge because they also, we always say like, oh, if Embiid came back, we're winning the national title. Like, that team lost 10 games. So
Nadir Tharp carries us to the Final Four.
Are we sure Nadir Tharp was making a
best
Final
point
Four
guard?
But yeah, so it's like that's why I really would love to at least see if you can get Omarco back. You can get we don't have to. If you can get Omarco back, and then you have LeBaron, you have Rakis. There's some guys you're forming there, but to your point, AB, is like, are they gonna be patient enough? Are those freshmen, if Omarco stays, is LeBaron saying, wait, why would I put I'm the 3rd point guard now? And Rakis is saying, wait, I'm the 6th guard on this roster if we go out and get another one. So I don't know. It's hard. It's a new world. It is I cannot imagine. Think about us trying to break this stuff down. And now imagine Townsend, Self, Roberts, and Case sitting there trying to put this puzzle together.
Yeah, because it's like if these freshmen don't see minutes or someone transfers to a school, like you don't see immediate success, you can just hit the portal. You're gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of like this is going to happen probably every year. I don't know if it's going to benefit Bill or if it's going to hurt us, but in the past, like you said, it feels like our best teams are loaded with guys that have stuck around for a while. Like obviously the 2 national championship teams. I guess 2010 had Sharon, Cole, Tyshawn. 2011 still had the Twins who played a lot.
Well, should we talk about my tweet from a few weeks ago? Because I don't think we've done the pod. Me and AB kind of argued about this. Not really argued, but I said, let me pull it up. The teams that Bill Self has had 4 starters return. So I went down a deep dive. And in his career, he's had 4 starters return in these years. 2021, 2022, they won a national championship. 15, 16, they were the number 1 overall seed. 2009, 2010, they were the number 1 overall seed. 2007, 2008, they were the national champs. 06, 07, they were the number 4 overall 1 seed. And then 04, 05 was like Miles, Langford, Simeon, the weirdest season of all time. Started preseason number 1, go 20-1, and then collapse. But
similar to another season.
Yeah. So wow, Bill Self starting preseason number 1 is a disaster. So what are your thoughts on that? AB, I don't know, whichever, but like AB had some thoughts. I know what his are. I'd be curious if is it fair for us to say, yeah, well, if we get DeJuan, KJ, Furphy, and Hunter back, the numbers say that we're going to be a number 1 overall seed.
My only concern, I think I've said it on the pod and I will stand by it, is the majority of those rosters had returning starters that still had more of a ceiling to reach. And outside of Furphy, I don't see that with the other 3. That would be the only thing that holds me back. Now, a lot of other things go into this. More depth will help. Guys playing different roles than they were kind of forced into last year should help. But that would be my the thing that would be holding me back, I guess, is simply like, I don't know that Hunter can get that much better. I don't know that KJ can get that much better. I don't know that DeJuan can get that much better. when you look at the team that won it in 22. Oach was good, but he clearly reached multiple steps level. CB, same thing. Jalen, same thing. And DeJuan even. Like,
Well, I'd
I just
say
don't know where you see that.
You're right about CB and Ochai. Did Jalen really improve from 21 to 22?
No, not really, I guess.
Like, to me, could you argue Jalen's the KJ of this team that just kind of stays doing what he's doing? But you're right. You're then still searching for the second guy that takes a big step. And I agree. I don't think it's going to be DeJuan, and Hunter
and
just is what
those
he
steps,
is.
those steps are like guys becoming All-Americans or Conference Player of the Year type players. Do we think Furphy can get to that level? Like, I think he's going to be much improved. I don't want to say I'd be shocked if he was an All-American next year, but I would be pretty surprised if he got to that level. But I guess those teams didn't have an All-American coming back. So you can argue it both ways, whichever color you want to paint the picture. But like I said, that's just the one thing that pops up in my head.
What do you think on that, B-turn?
My brain is fried. What's the exact question?
Oh, I wish B-turn listened to it.
I mean, I did, but then it's
he was tweeting
like players that come back.
Well, no, it's just like 4 starting. Usually in the past, if you tell us we're getting 4 starters back, we're all like celebrating. We're like, hell yes. And the numbers would show anytime we get 4 starters back, Bill Self puts together incredible seasons. But AB, I don't know. I guess to you, what would you have to see next year's starting lineup be? And I think we kind of know what the starting lineup is going to be, but like, what do we need to see the starting lineup to be next year to be totally sold on this team competing for a national title?
Yeah, I think a lot of it obviously has to do with Furphy's decision, but if you pencil him in at the 3 or whatever, I think that's 4 starters right there with DeJuan, Zeke, Furphy, Hunter, and then maybe a stretch 4 or just another shooter, honestly.
But like, KJ's going to start.
I don't see how that's going to work. But maybe he doesn't play. Yeah, play 20 minutes a game or whatever. I guess you can have guys off the bench. I mean, you saw it with Kentucky. That's why, like, a guy like McNeely, I don't come in and compete. Play under the best coach. Like Kentucky had Dillingham and Shepard off the bench. So, yeah. And then we talked about the Baylor team. They had Flagler off the bench. They still started Flo Thamba and who was the other one? Mark Vidal.
Yeah.
Guys that couldn't score at all. So, yeah, I guess they could. And Bill's pretty loyal. So,
yeah,
that's what, if those 3 are starting, who are the other 2 starters? You're basically just replacing Kevin with Zeke then?
Yeah, and then that's what I was going to say. That's scary, but here's what I want to see. If you tell me that's our starting lineup next year, I'm okay with it, as long as, like I laid out earlier, at the under 16 TV timeout, I want somebody in there for KJ.
Yeah,
and
like that was my thing. Who do you want in the final 5 minutes of the game rather than the first 5
Exactly. Like, that's what I want to talk more about, because that's what we did in 2022 with Remy. Now, we all thought Remy would start, but at the end of the day, it all came down to who was on the floor in the final 5 minutes. And I think, especially with KJ's rebounding issues, Self will be open to not playing him the final 5 minutes. Just this year, there was nothing else. Like, everyone, and I say it too, it's like, oh, he played so many minutes, but there was nobody else to play this year. So I think it's very possible, and I hope so. That's where I was saying earlier, like, I'm good even if it's DeJuan, Zeke, Furphy, KJ, Hunter, and then at the first TV timeout, Kugel is the guy you step in there. I don't know if I'm sold on that. I think we still need one more piece to make me really happy. And then that way you've got really good. I mean, how many guards? I would have you with DeJuan, Zeke, Kugel, Furphy, the freshman, and maybe one more. And you've got like 5 really good guards battling for 3 to 4 minutes, or 3 to 4 spots, or really 3. But that would be so exciting to me if we get back to the point where guys are not playing 35 minutes a game. And I know we're never going to go 10 deep. That's not what I'm asking. I just want to be 8 deep, or 7 to 8 deep, but it's 7 or 8 that you know are going to play significant minutes and be really good. So I don't know what else we got to do to make that happen.
Yeah, I think
get a couple more.
They're still likely to add 1 or 2 more guys. I think they could still add a scoring guard and then a bigger wing, a backup big man. I don't know how many guys are going to transfer though. We're still wondering about El Marco, but there's guys out there that haven't even hit the portal that I think the staff could potentially be interested in. It's like a LJ Cryer from Houston or like a Wade Taylor from Texas A&M, guys that can really score. God, who else? Like KJ Simpson, for example. They've had guys transfer. He could go in the first round of the draft. He could go early second, or he could come to KU and make $1 million and then go in the first round next year. Like there's guys that haven't even touched the portal or fans don't even think of that KU could potentially get. I mean, I'm trying to, who are some other guards that we've talked about? Just random names like a Tyler Kolek, who that's not like likely, but someone like that, that's a fringe first rounder that could go make $1 million at a big school.
Yeah. And I mean, those are all really, really big names. And I know those have been floated out there. And obviously, I mean, if you find a way to get LJ Cryer, then this team is all the way back. But
I don't think it would shock me if they got him.
Yeah. I mean, so at that point, is Zeke Mayo staying? That to me, that's a tough conversation. Not that I think Zeke was necessarily promised, hey, you're starting and you're playing 35 minutes a game. But if you bring in a guy as like established as an LJ Cryer, that's a whole different. Now, I hope to God we do it, but I agree though. If you get that style of player, but maybe it's like a step down from a Cryer. That's not a for sure starter, but he can battle it out with Zeke for the 2 spot, and the loser of that comes off the bench and is a spark off the bench. Like, Wade Taylor. Me and AB have argued about Wade Taylor in length the last week.
Yeah, I mean,
admittedly, only watched him play 1 game, and it was
his
the
worst game of his career.
Right, okay, but I think I have the right to do that when every guy that enters the portal, all we see from him is a 2-minute highlight clip of his best plays of the year, and we judge him off of that.
Yeah. I mean, he was 36% from the field this year. It's not very good. He was taking 16 shots a game.
He chucks, and he wouldn't chuck here.
But it wasn't even just the chucking. It was like he was missing some cells up in the brain that had me a little worried about,
Yeah, I don't really want to spend time talking about guys that haven't entered
He's not
the
even
portal.
in the portal.
Yeah. But I totally want
tampering charges.
That type of a guy that maybe not, I don't want a guy that necessarily shot 16 times a game, but I want another scorer because we haven't even talked about this. Now I know we talked about Omarco. I've talked myself into Bill not playing KJ the final 5 minutes of a game or the final 10 minutes of a game if things are going. Like, I am totally sold on that being his plan. I really think Bill is too smart to think KJ can play the level he played. But would he do it with DeJuan?
That's what I was about to ask when we talked about
I don't think he would.
Cryer. Because what if Zeke or Cryer were just the 6-man and they check in at the under 16 and they still play? I mean, I'm looking at just Flagler came to mind. He played 23 minutes a game the year they won it all.
Yeah. I know. So, that's what I want is just that electric spark to come off the bench. We haven't had that since Remy, and it worked really good 2 years. But
yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, so Flo Thamba, he started all 30 games for Baylor, played 15 minutes a game. So he was just starting, and then they would have bench guys obviously come in. Like Cryer played 10 minutes a game on that team. Matthew Meyer, Chamu Chachua. So they started certain guys, but they didn't play a ton of minutes. But also, if you're getting a bag and you're trying to go to the NBA, I don't know if they're going to be okay with even coming off the bench whatsoever. But if you're coming and playing 25 minutes, 30 minutes a game, and you're getting the shots you need, you're putting up 15 a night, and you're still getting draft buzz, I don't know. I feel like Zeke at South Dakota State, like his film kind of speaks for itself. Like he is already like a proven guy. 19 points a night, shooting 7 threes a game, 39% from three, Summit League Player of the Year. Like,
but we do need to have this conversation. And I am all the way in on Zeke. I'm sold. I've seen enough. I've liked him for years. But I do want to have the conversation. Have we ever had, and again, I will say I think Zeke's going to be good. But for anyone doubting maybe Zeke, or for anyone saying, are we sure we should just pencil this guy in as our starter at the 2? Have we ever had a successful mid-major transfer? Me and AB kind of talked about it before we got on. Kevin Young is the best one.
Yes, Afu?
No.
He's coming back.
Yeah. Oh, God. And Diedrich would be the answer if you want to count Memphis. I don't count Memphis.
Yeah, that doesn't
count.
Well,
I don't even know if I would classify South Dakota State as a mid-major. I think they're more of a low major.
And so,
like I think they're closer to Towson than they are to Memphis.
Exactly. Do you guys agree with, I mean, you see the mid-major stuff all over social media and message boards, just especially with KU. Like, I think Timberlake has obviously given us some scars, but you look at like the starting lineup for Alabama and stuff. Like Grant Nelson obviously came from North Dakota State. I think UConn's backcourt is all from mid-majors. Spencer came from Loyola, Maryland, and then he went to Rutgers, and then
I mean, a lot of good. DJ Burns went to, where was he at? Winthrop.
And then
But tons of guys. Dalton Connect, I think you probably said that, but like tons of guys have turned into stars that were really good at mid-majors. And so I'm not totally counting it out, but I'm also, that's kind of why I keep pushing. And I think we all agree is like, I think we need one more guard. And I think we need it to be another scoring guard, a shooter, a guy that in case Mayo, or even if Kugel, like maybe Kugel sucks.
Mark Sears, guy that's getting 25 a night, came from Ohio.
Yeah. So
Can I ask, I should know the answer to this. How tall is Zeke?
Like 6'4", 6'3".
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, and he's not going to blow you away athletically or from a quickness standpoint, but the way he can like create space off the dribble, he literally can get any shot he wants. And just watching the Iowa State game in the first round, like he had 19 points, 4 for 6 from 3, and that's obviously one of the best defenses in the country. Yeah. And he was really good in that game. They kind of made it interesting there for a second, but people have been kind of shitting on the Summit League today and then just worried about the mid-major stuff. So I don't think we have really anything to worry about with Zeke. Hometown kid too, plays hard, is going to be active on the boards.
Do we think there's something too? I was thinking this earlier.
Yeah, Tristan.
Guys that, that's crazy. Guys that grew up, I mean, Zeke Mayo grew up watching Bill Self teams. Like, do you think there's something to him maybe having a better understanding for what is expected at Kansas and under Bill Self than like a Nick Timberlake? Like, Nick Timberlake didn't know anything different than Towson. And not that Mayo really knows anything different than South Dakota State, but he knows what Kansas basketball is all about. He grew up watching it. He was a fan. So, like, is that something we can play into maybe him being a smidge more ready? I hope a lot more than a smidge, actually, than Timberlake was. Or, like, is that just BS garbage?
Oh, I didn't know you're – yeah.
Well, go ahead.
I think that does hold a little bit of water, right? Like, it's going to mean a little bit more. He's going to be playing at home. He's going like, but also, this isn't really to answer your question. It's just a more slight fact that the picture of him with Andrew Wiggins and he's like 6 years old makes me feel disgusting and old.
Well, did you see my tweet about the freshmen coming in next year were kindergartners during the T-Rob Tyshawn Final Four run?
Don't like that.
I couldn't believe that.
I was
like,
How about Devin Neal, though, the mayor of Lawrence, on the visit today with Zeke? They brought out Coach Q. His son obviously played with Zeke at Lawrence High. So perfect visit. And then he commits the day of. Pretty cool story.
Devin Neal really is going to go down as like an all-timer, like as a just not even a football player, just like as a Kansas person. Yeah. And potentially let's add him to the list. Next head coach at Kansas basketball. Who says no? Devin Neal.
Me.
Okay. He's off the list. All right.
I wanted to look at Jayhawk WBA's comment. He's talking about UConn's bench, like Samson Johnson, their backup big. And that's kind of what I thought about earlier about getting a backup big. Like, dude, UConn last year with Sonogo and Klingon was the most unfair thing I've ever seen in my life. Can you imagine having that? I'm not going to say we're going to have anything close to that, but you let Hunter play. I don't even know how many minutes Sonogo was playing, but get as much out of Hunter as you can in the post and on the boards, and then bringing it back up big that protects the rim and can get out and shoot it a little bit. Like
the thing is, that's Flory. Like it.
Yeah, that's my thing. It feels like we're just out on Flory. I don't want to put too much trust in him, but like, if he's not good enough to be the backup big, then we've got some issues. That's fair.
Yeah. But I agree, V-Turn. Like watching UConn and watching.
Why do you think that we would have some issues?
If Flory's not good enough to play 10 minutes a night and not completely fold, like that feels like Marco Jackson is a big, no?
Well, are you assuming we get another big B-turn?
No. Oh, me?
Or both of you? Like, I think if we don't get another big and then Flory is not good, that's a problem because we're right back to kind of where we were. Unless then does that maybe help because KJ plays? No, because that means KJ's playing more minutes. So yeah, I think Flory's got to be good, and if he's not, and if they don't believe he will be, then they need to go get a.
How do they even know? Bill Self thought Quentin Grimes and Marco Jackson were going to be All-Americans. We haven't had why wouldn't you want to go get an established big?
I agree. I think we should. But I also see what AB's saying. It's like, why the hell are you recruiting a 7'4" wingspan big that can shoot it and block shots? And then we're sitting here going, man, I wish we had a 7-footer that could block shots and shoot it. Like it does. And I'm not saying anyone's wrong. I'm saying it's like, it sucks that our freshman performances these last few years are really, for big men, has been like forever almost.
Yeah. Well,
like
and
it
like
sucks
another
that
part
you can't. Yeah.
You can go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, Flory is the best big we've had from a recruiting standpoint in a while, though, right?
Like all-around recruit, right? It's like the highest recruit we've had since Josh.
Yeah.
Technically, according to rankings or something.
Mm-hmm. But I guess my other thing, though, is like we've all said that we hope Bill can see that KJ and Hunter on the court together often is not a good thing. Okay, well, then where are KJ's minutes going to come in? Right? Like, because part of my whole backup big situation thing is I just think that it's at least possible that if Hunter's off the court, KJ's your 5 and you go small. That's a very possible situation in my mind, because if that's not going to happen, then we're just going to see Hunter and KJ on the floor for 20 minutes together. And that feels like it's on the low end, does it not?
Yeah, it does. But I think if we see Hunter and KJ 20 minutes, I really like that's my goal is those guys are, if they're only playing half the game together, I think that's a huge step forward.
Right. I would agree. Yeah. I would agree. But then do we think that they're on the court at separate times at all? And if that's the case, is KJ just strictly a 4? Do we see any backup 5 minutes for him to just slide him over and kind of switch up the style a little bit? Because that's kind of what this whole backup big thing that keeps coming into my mind, that like, yeah, if Flory's not ready, then KJ will just have to step into it. And maybe that's not ideal. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't go after another big. I just don't know how much of a difference maker we could possibly get if this is our roster.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. It'll be I also wonder how much they really want to, or I guess how difficult is it for a guy like KJ to switch in the middle of the game and all of a sudden you're running the offense as the 4 instead of running like as the 5 instead of the 4. Like when you're playing so much of the other minutes, does it make it harder to play the 5? And so, what are you laughing at?
The comments.
I can't see him tonight, so I'm going in blind. You guys might give me some more context on this.
Well, I tried to pen this one, and it's a good point. Even if Bidunga is Sheck Diallo, he gives us more than our bench did this year. Not wrong.
Based on Brady's reaction, I can't imagine that was the one he was laughing about.
No, I'm not going to talk about all the negativity. I'm not doing it tonight, folks.
I have a guess
well,
of
then
who it
what
might
if,
be commenting.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely been in here, but
Interesting.
So, but what if Flory, say he is like a Sheck, then that means what, 30, 35 plus minutes for Hunter, and are fans going to cry again that he can't play defense and he can't make jumpers and he doesn't dunk and he's not athletic?
Yeah,
so it's like,
no.
I'm sure you saw about the God, who was the transfer big, that the Minnesota kid?
Yeah.
The kid that goes, like, would you rather go get him, a guy that can show that he can board and finish around the rim, or would you go with a freshman 5-star that you've never seen play at the college level, the Power 5 level?
I want as many guys as we can get. Like, I want
that can play now.
Yes. And then if Flory is good, then the transfer big that came in to play backup minutes, we'll see you. You're not playing. Sorry, you got beat out by a lottery. Yeah, exactly.
I loved when Tarek Black came in.
My goat.
And so, yeah, I do not think, based on what we've seen, that we can put all our eggs in the Flory basket. I would love to, but I want to go into next season having zero idea who's going to be the best bench player and who's going to be the best backup big. Not because they all suck like this year, because there's so many options. And you could say, like, I also want there to be an Ain't No Seats episode next year. And I can already picture it, where me and AB and B-Turn or whoever's leading the way, they're saying, guys, chat, Self is not going to play 10 guys. 2 of these guys are going to be sitting by February. We've done that before, and those are the best seasons ever. It's the same with, like, Jalen Coleman-Lands. Like, we knew Jalen Coleman-Lands wasn't going to be playing minutes late in the year.
Like last year, we just wondered who could maybe step up.
Yes, yeah. Whereas I want to get back to us arguing about, like, Self ain't going to play 10 guys. But I want him to have 10 guys that could play. That's the big difference.
I said earlier today, I know we just won a natty, but I need the years where we go in like fully expecting to win a natty, like depressed for weeks if they lose in the tournament. Like 1 seed, I want to hurt. I want it to hurt.
It was bad how quickly I recovered. I mean, I've been locked into every game since, and usually it's like TV's off.
What seed were we when we played Georgia Tech in the Elite Eight, Bill's first year?
We were a 4.
I was thinking about his history as a 4 seed.
Well, we got lucky that year because UAB upset Kentucky, and then we absolutely smoked UAB.
No, I'm trying to, like, his 4s we've been, was it Bradley or Bucknell? It was Bucknell.
Bradley.
Was it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bucknell was 3-14.
Bucknell, we were a 3 seed.
And then Auburn, USC, Gonzaga.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have looked into. I saw a hilarious tweet. I might have sent it to you guys. Not hilarious, but it was when you figured it out. I think JMU's loss was like the biggest loss in the second round, or maybe it was Utah State. I can't remember, but it was the biggest loss in the second round. And, like, God, I can't remember the stat. This is now not very funny at all, but it was since the 1999 Tulsa team that was coached by Bill Self. And it just made me chuckle because it's like, oh my God, Bill Self, when he has an underperforming team, just gets annihilated in second round games. Like, it is wild.
AB, can you see when we pin a comment?
I saw the one about Check Diallo, but I don't know if you guys have posted any other ones.
Can you pin the second to last one, Rye? From our biggest fan, Bill cheating.
Oh, we're not supposed to be giving attention to this.
Bill, now that he can't cheat, he's fallen off. AB.
Well,
He won a national
also-
title 2 years
He
ago.
said
and
Andy
a
Reid
one
was
seed last
washed
year.
4 months ago, and that Patrick Mahomes sucked 4 months ago, and then now they're Super Bowl champs. So clearly, this guy just likes giving up on guys after one bad performance. So we'll leave it at that. And if you disagree with him, he'll go with personal insults instead. So
Yeah.
great guy. But he will spend his entire night watching us do this. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
And we're not going to spend our entire night letting people.
No, of course not. We
Read.
got transfer portal to talk about, baby. Hey, positive note. We'll make this positive right now.
We need it.
My boy, Mike Boynton. Did you guys see the news?
Oh, no.
Boy,
Turned down mid-major opportunities to go be the head assistant under Dusty May in Michigan. Clap it up for him, man. I like it too. We said he was, he's working himself on the sidelines after games, shaking hands, kissing babies, and he's going to be great at Michigan. He's going to go on. He's going to coach at Cal in a couple of years. So just be excited.
Or could this be a great move? Dusty May, all it takes is one big mess up. Dusty May gets a DUI. Dusty May commits I don't know. And next thing you know, Mike Boynton, head coach, Michigan. Just saying.
You never know.
I don't know why I went there.
Are we going to
Yeah, that was two crazy things to say. What if Dusty May kills someone on the road after having a beer too many?
Not what I said.
Close enough.
Are we going to talk about Musselman and what could spiral?
Dominoes?
Musselman?
Tang to Arkansas.
Musselman, next coach at USC. Some folks
Which
think
seems like very much is happening. Like what a weird, what was it, like a week ago their AD tweeted some corny video about Bus
taking his shirt off.
Arkansas. Yeah,
well,
it was
if
like
the AD's acting corny, then I know the perfect guy for him to hire if they need someone to fill an opening.
Yeah, well, I think Musselman's going to go to USC, and then I have no idea. I know, like, Vern has joked on Twitter about it, but, like, Tang to Arkansas feels like it could be a fit. And it would be very funny. Because it would also suck for K-State, because now they've missed the, like, which I know worked out for KU football, but, like, they've missed the coaching carousel. Like,
well, you'd really hate to see it.
Mike
also,
Boynton.
Yeah. I would love that. I'd become a K-State fan.
Is the guy who tweeted the Bronny James portal thing, is he real? Or did Ryan get got? Or did everyone get got?
I think
that's Dick Weiss, a legend. He broke news in like 1987.
What a
Discord
name.
saying it's fake.
Really?
It says, I've been covering college basketball for 8,000 years.
Well, maybe he's funny.
But
I saw other people tweeting it out, though.
There's definitely Hoops Weiss has been a big time.
I know,
Twitter
that's what I thought
for years.
But then I've seen like fake shit, and then people saying they got, and then the Burns Discord is saying it's fake.
Dude.
So I can't figure it out because no one else is. But like On3 has said he reported it. Who else?
Can I just make a bigger point about Twitter? Why do people get off so much on fucking fake rumor tweets just to get a few likes and retweets? It drives me insane, man. And maybe I should pay more attention. But like,
see Bill Self yesterday?
Yeah, and April Fools, whatever. Like, I'm not going to make too big of a deal out of it. There are people that do it all the time, and it's just like, stop. I'm begging. Like the guy that's apparently a Colts beat reporter, and he just died on the hill that Snead was going there. He died on the hill and said Schefter couldn't be more wrong. And it's like, dude, Schefter's been covering it. Schefter knows everybody in the NFL. I promise you his information is more legit than this guy with 3,000 followers that has a Colts blog. But he just died on the hill, and then he's wrong, and he probably disappeared. That stuff happens every day. It drives me fucking nuts. Like, why do people get so much joy out of it?
So I'm very confused because On3 has 200,000 followers and are like the biggest recruiting transfer portal NIL site out there, and they're still posting that Bronny James is transferring. But Dick Weiss is real.
I know.
That's what they all say.
Well, I went through his media, and there was like old pictures of him at games like from 2016 and stuff. And yeah, like breaking news. And so I just didn't know if it was real because I feel like it would be like all over the place, like ESPN and just
It
because
would be huge news because the name.
I don't know.
I thought
I'm so confused on it. If you guys saw LeBron and Allen, would you guys get in
no, but
arguments?
I guess the reason I bought it so
Yeah.
fast was I thought he was just maybe I'm an
Quiet.
absolute idiot for thinking this. I thought he was just going to go play for Drew Joyce at Duquesne, who's LeBron's like childhood best friend, who just
I
got the
thought he
head
was
coaching job.
retiring.
No,
Oh.
that's their coach.
My bad.
Drew Joyce is the little tiny point guard that played with LeBron that is stepping in as the head coach. And I was like, that'd be such a LeBron move to help his boys, the nice guy he is, to say, hey, Bronny, you're going to go play at Duquesne. But I was literally driving home from work thinking that's kind of risky because if you go to Duquesne and you suck, you're done. You can't. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
what's LeBron's career path looking like going forward? Like, I mean, I feel like people thought Bronny could be a one and done, get drafted. LeBron's talked about this maybe being his last year now, like within the last week. Like, when does Bronny go pro?
You're getting got more than Ryan potentially has on the
I'm
Bronny
not
transfer.
got. I'm
You
not
think
got.
LeBron is I'm almost offending you. LeBron, you can't take anything he says without a grain of salt. That man will be playing basketball next year. Promise you.
Well, and let's. As a LeBron guy, I will also say this, AB. You're gonna agree. LeBron's retirement tour is gonna start like 2 years ahead of time. I mean, that man is gonna milk it. And I love him, but he's gonna milk it. So
Did you see the video of him talking about chess the other day when he caught himself when he was about to lie?
See, now we're gonna argue, AB,
Because
that was so lame. That tweet was so lame. Out of all the things LeBron clearly lies about, a habitual liar. It's very common to say, yeah, so I start to play chess, or I was playing chess, they were playing checkers. He wasn't actually meaning that he plays chess. He immediately was like, not actual chess.
Because he caught himself. But were they not literally talking about chess before?
No, they were talking about, like, I thought seeing the court and seeing plays develop. And he's like, so I start to think about it like I'm playing chess and, not actual chess, but that's how I think about it as a court. And everyone's like, oh, look at him. He got caught in the lie again.
I would apologize for not taking in the whole context of that clip, but there's not one thing I would enjoy less than listening to a JJ Redick and LeBron James podcast. So
really?
Very much. Really.
Have you seen the clips? It's actually very interesting.
Of course it's interesting to you, dude, but think about it. Think about me as a basketball fan. Think back to 2001. Okay, my entire life of remembering college basketball and pro basketball. Those might be 1 and 2 on the most passionately hated guys I've ever had in my life watching play basketball.
in my life.
And Redick's grown on me since he got in the league, but now he just says obnoxious things, I feel like. He's always in the news once a week for saying something
Reddick's
really
doing the smart thing of saying outlandish things to get I mean, he's doing what Nick Wright did. He's doing what he's doing what Kendrick Perkins, he's doing what you have to do to become like a face in media.
Bring us back to something we talked about 6 weeks ago, fucking horrifying that's what you have to do to make your point.
But their podcast is actually interesting because they're just like breaking down like plays and film. And remember when Bill Self was breaking down like during COVID, breaking down old footage at KU? It was amazing. Like, so it's
I like Bill though.
And I'm saying this, I've seen like 10 minutes of the podcast, so I don't know if it's actually good. But the clips I've seen have been very good. One last note on LeBron. Did you see? I'm sure you have. I found it hilarious. There's like a tweet out there that shows, look at all these pictures of LeBron reading a book, and every time he's holding a book, it's on the first page.
Yeah, have you never seen that? Have you never seen that? This has been a thing forever. It's when someone asked him about The Godfather. What's his favorite part of The Godfather? Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's so funny. It's on the first page.
Yes, he doesn't fucking read. You guys wonder why I have so much hate for him. Is because he's the fakest person in the world. I'm spitting angry right now. I just let some. I gleek.
You gotta get angry. You gotta get mean.
I mean, we didn't really spend much time on Riley Kugel.
That's because
And I'm like, I don't want to spend that much time on him because I just do not know. But what are we thinking on his 3-point shooting numbers? Because if you look at his 3-point percentage, my first thought was, what the hell are we doing? But he's also been very sick the last 2 SEC seasons. So, like, I don't for shooting numbers
So
wise.
SEC regular season, he was 19 for 48 from 3, 40%.
brand.
So yeah, I'm not saying he's a bad player at all. I'm just saying I'm not like totally convinced. And I don't think you can really pencil him in as a starter, especially when you're talking about Furphy coming back. You're talking about Hunter. You're talking about DeJuan. So, yeah, I was going to ask earlier, like, what kind of role you guys can envision for him. It's obviously tough to tell, but, yeah, we need instant offense scores off the bench. But, yeah, I'm in on it because he grew up a KU fan. He's still young, so he would have more than just a year, and we talked about needing guys to stick around. Maybe he could go pro. Supposedly he was on draft boards before the year. But we need guys that can stick around. That's why if we do go get like a AJ Store, maybe that's another guy that sticks around.
I'll say this about Kugel: if he's starting or playing a like super significant like starter's role next year, I think we might be in trouble. Or he just improved massively. I just don't know that we go with the 4 guys that started last year and add Kugel and think that there's going to be much improvement. But that's nothing against him. I think we need more of an oomph from a guy that's going to start next to the big 4, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it but it goes back to what AB said at the very beginning of the pod. Like, if Zeke Mayo and Kugel are your big gets of the offseason, there's still a lot to be worried about. But I don't think that's the case. And so that's why I like him, because
the thing I like most about this Kugel guy is his father.
Dude, what an absolute unit.
Maybe we shouldn't say anything about him, because if we say anything bad, we might be.
Yeah, but like, imagine, you think we get calls in Allen Fieldhouse now. Imagine a ref calls a travel on Kugel, turns to the right, there's Riley Kugel's dad just sitting there like this, and the ref's like, just kidding. Kansas ball. Like, review, no travel.
The former NFL quarterback that was at the NC State game or whatever that said, "I'm so-and-so's uncle." Did you see that?
Yeah, Danny Cannell, right?
Yeah, we need Kugel's dad to just say Kugel's dad, sit front row behind the bench.
I can't stand Danny Cannell.
Damn it. Oh, I do. This could come back to bite me, but I like guys that are just willing to chuck, willing to fire. If they feel it, they start feeling it, start firing, get to the rim, dunking on guys like Kugel.
You gotta have them.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys that like to chuck, did you and KJ Lawson clear things up the other day, right?
That was awesome.
That was a tough scene.
I mean, so funny.
What is it with in the last year?
He dogged on himself.
I've made fun of Steve Lapis, who searched his name on Twitter and tweeted at me. I made fun of Tom Crean Shorts, who searched his name on Twitter in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner and tweeted at me, telling me that the shorts were in style back then. They were not. And then I just tweet something kind of funny about KJ Lawson, and he searched his name and tweets at me. I got to quit tweeting jokes about people. It's mean. But KJ played it off very well. Like, he was just like, I'm making that shot if I'm in, but I wouldn't have been in the game. So, yeah.
Do we think it's people at this point with how Twitter is now, is it people searching their name, or is it just the For You page is going to show you stuff that involve? I mean, people aren't tweeting about me that I don't know. So, like,
but
I
do you
don't
think
know how
KJ
it works,
Lawson's? I don't think KJ Lawson's Twitter is like full of KU burner accounts and us like firing.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's just a thought with the new For You thing. It's just a disaster still. But
the Tom Crean thing was so funny though, because I mean, we may have to do hold my phone up to the screen.
Yes,
part of the pod, a tradition like none other. This Tom Crean was dressed like that. I tweeted about it laughing. And on Thanksgiving, I'm not kidding you, I'm at Hannah's parents eating Thanksgiving. And Tom Crean tweets at me, those shorts were in style then. In retrospect, they were a bad choice, but we had to be in Adidas gear. You live and you learn. Tom, Bill Self's in Adidas gear, and he ain't dressed like that. Like, I don't know.
Even if those specific shorts were in style, the way he was wearing them was certainly not in style.
Also, I mean, you tucked your polo shirt into basketball shorts.
I thought he
which
said your name. I thought he used your first name in the tweet.
he said you live and you learn at R. Reinhardt.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ryan.
You don't even have Ryan on there, do you?
No. I need to go anonymous burner account at some point. It'd be so much more relaxing.
I thought you did.
Well, I have a burner, but my burner is not for KU sports. It's not for sports. It's to just like
No.
get away from toxic Twitter. It's sometimes nice to like get on
Really?
Twitter, and it's not. I don't tweet. It's so my timeline can be refreshed and my For You page.
No, I support it.
Yeah.
The For You page after the Baltimore Bridge thing was the most diabolical thing I've ever seen. It made me want to delete the app.
Yeah, what tab do you guys use?
I just use the
Following?
recent or the non For You, whatever it is.
Well, yeah, I tried it, but it switches you back to
Dude.
For You every time. Next thing you know, you're in the middle of a KSU burner versus KU burner argument about Jalen Daniels back in April.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy Twitter anymore. Like I feel like I get on there to tweet my thoughts, but Elon, I don't know if I told you guys, but someone hacked into my Twitter and it was like losing my life, which was embarrassing. And I didn't have it for like 3 days. And then once I got it back, now I don't get notifications. I only get notifications from people I follow.
Yep.
Does that make sense? Yeah, which it's good, but sometimes I do like to like talk to people on there and then like selling our hoodies and shit. Like people
can't even see mentions.
No, unless they follow me. So like, remember when I was shipping out hoodies? Like I'm sure I saw like in our Twitter pages they would tweet them and they would tag me. So I think people were like, I want to retweet stuff like that and get the hoodies out there more. But yeah, it's kind of wild. So I don't see a lot of stuff.
I don't understand. That has to be like a setting, I would think, but not that we need to dig deep into Twitter's settings on this podcast. Wouldn't be the worst thing we dug deep into. But
someone asked for Royals talk.
Nah, I'm so out on that. If you guys want to do that, I will literally leave, though. Not because I dislike the Royals, because I couldn't tell you a single thing.
Here's the thing I'll say. Bobby's a fucking superstar in the starting rotation. Texted a few people this. 31 innings, 6 earned runs. That will certainly play.
Fifth starter, Alec Marsh, goes 7 innings tonight, 2 hits.
I hope tomorrow's game gets played.
It's one of the best lineups in the league.
Cole Reagans versus Corbin Burns would be electric, but there's so much rain that's going to happen that game's gone. But I don't have much Royals in me.
Royals are,
at least.
I was looking, I think we're close to plus 150, which their lineup's obviously better, but when you have Reagans on the hill,
30-second timeout.
It's going to be worth it.
I'm trying to call it TO here. Nobody's paying attention.
All right, Rico.
I just saw. Can someone explain to me the Jackson County thing? I know I'm very misinformed for not knowing this.
Can I have an update on it?
Oh,
yes, but I just saw the breaking news and I wanted to hear you guys talk about it.
What's the breaking news?
Downtown.
Jackson County voted no.
Oh, it's official?
So I don't know what that means. I haven't paid enough attention.
Moving downtown, right? AB?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good.
Well, no.
That was
no means that they won't.
Oh, well, that's lame.
I don't know what's next, but
why would they not move downtown? See, I've been so out. Like I've been wanting to catch up on this story, but I felt like as of a few weeks ago, it was like for sure happening.
So it's actually no final?
According to Mark Gunnels, he said, "I'm truly stunned. Jackson County voted no. What's your instant reaction?" Chat.
I'm a little surprised.
Did they vote no? Oh yeah. Final poll. Coulter Witten says final poll was 58% no.
Wow. Not even that close.
I don't get it.
Well, that means that we're in for a whirl, I guess, because
does that mean
still
Kansas?
It could mean Kansas. It could mean Clay County, where they had talked about before, up in North Kansas City. It could mean, I don't think it's likely, but it could mean that they move to Nashville. Like now it just opens up what's next, I guess. But honestly, I was team vote yes, and as someone that lives on the Kansas side, it doesn't really affect me as much. The Royals and Chiefs are kind of the ones that dropped the bag here because they were just clearly scrambling and not giving a ton of information out and late to the like they didn't announce these renderings until 6 weeks ago, a month ago, and then now they're voting on it. Like it's just been kind of a debacle of their communication with everyone on what their plan is. So I don't know. But it does suck because I would have loved a stadium where they.
How do you screw that up?
Did you guys see the tweet that Vern just sent us in the group?
No.
From Lawrence, Kansas Community Police Scanner.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I'm not reading it. It's not bad. It's bad.
Just picturing him seeing that and being like, I'm going to send this to the group.
All right. We got anything else? By the way, Jayhawk WBA, I put him in timeout.
It's such a good feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful to be able to click a name and say put in timeout. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah.
And hey, we're going to let you sling it. Anybody in this chat that wants to sling it, you can. But
he's going at me and AB personally on Twitter, like personal attacks, which is weird. Like, why do you listen?
And to go for an hour of being negative is just kind of like exhausting, dude. Like, give it a rest. If you want to be the negative guy in the chat, that's fine. Everybody needs their shtick, but hour of it, it's
every episode.
Yeah, like my God. But all right, I don't have much else. Hopefully, we get more news. I don't know. We'll probably learn more about Omarco, Jamari, maybe Furphy, Clements, which. One day we're going to have to sit down and just talk about what a wild saga that Zach Clements thing has been. But
if only he hit the game winner against Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, the most confident shot ever put up, other than the Big Dave shot at Kentucky and the El Marco clank off the backboard this year that shook the earth.
Hey, before we get off, I hate to do this publicly on the pod, but Ryan, you are going to have to be the one to end the live. I don't think I have access to
Oh, God, so much. Thanks for the tip. I would have just been running this thing all night.
Yeah, I don't really know what would have happened if we all would have just left. But.
Subscribe, and
thanks,
yes, shout out. We will be back. Who knows? Maybe later in the week, probably next week. But if something big happens, we'll try to hop on and talk about it. So, Bill Self's cooking. That's all I'll say. Bill Self's locked in. It's a great start. Just got a couple more things we got to get done, and I'm confident he will. So. Rock Chalk, and we will see you guys soon. In stream now.